A precision missile strike executed by Russian forces has resulted in the death of dozens of international volunteers operating in eastern Ukraine. The attack targeted a formal vocational college in the city of Kramatorsk that was being used as a temporary barracks and processing center for foreign fighters joining Ukraine's International Legion. Russian Ministry of Defense officials stated that intelligence confirmed the location was housing what they termed mercenary from over a dozen countries, primarily Poland, the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada. The strike involved 2 Iskander and ballistic missiles, which struck the facility in quick succession with minimal warning. The emergency service on the scene reported a significant number of casualties, with the death toll expected to rise as rescue workers continue to clear the rubble. This incident represents one of the single deadliest days for foreign national fighting on behalf of Ukraine. The lethal strike occurs against a backdrop of increasingly tense discussion within the European Union and NATO regarding the potential for direct military deployment to Ukraine. A confidential draft proposal, details of which were leaked to several European news agencies, outline a plan for a coalition of willing member states to send military training personnel to the western regions of Ukraine. The stated purpose of this force would be to free up experienced Ukrainian soldiers for frontline duty by taking over basic training and logistic roles within the country's border. French President Emmanuel Macron, who has been the most vocal proponent of this idea, argued that such a move is a necessary risk to prevent a Ukrainian collapse. However, the proposal faced fierce opposition from other members, including Hungary and Slovakia, who warned it would represent a catastrophic escalation and could draw NATO into a direct conflict with Russia. The Russian government has issued a stark and unambiguous warning in response to these European discussions. A statement from the Russian Foreign Ministry declared that any official deployment of foreign troops to Ukrainian territory would be considered tantamount to a declaration of war against the Russian Federation. The statement further emphasized that such force, whether labeled as trainers or combat troops, would be viewed as legitimate targets for Russian military action. This threat was demonstrated with a strike in Kramatorsk, which served as a clear message that Russia possessed the intelligence and military capability to locate and destroy foreign element operating in Ukraine. The attack is perceived as a preemptive measure designed to dissuade European nations from moving forward with their plan by showcasing the extreme risk involved. Reactions from European capitals have been mixed but are largely characterized by heightened caution. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz reiterated his country's firm opposition to sending ground troops, a position that has remained consistent for months. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer stated that the UK's support would continue to focus on financial aid and military equipment, ruling out the deployment of British soldiers. Meanwhile, the Polish government, which has been hawkish in its support for Ukraine, called for an emergency meeting of the European Council to discuss a unified response to both the Russian strike and the leaked proposal. The event has exposed deep and lingering divisions within the alliance about the acceptable level of risk in confronting Russia, with many leaders urging a de-escalation of rhetoric. For the Ukrainian government, the loss of experienced foreign volunteers is a significant blow to military capacity. These fighters often bring specialized skills and experience from other conflicts, and they have been integral to certain operations. President Zelensky praised the sacrifice of the international fighters, calling them heroes for global democracy. However, the incident and the surrounding debate about foreign troops also present a political dilemma. Officially, welcoming large-scale NATO training force could provide immediate military benefits, but would also give Russia the propaganda victory of claiming it is now fighting NATO directly. Kyiv must carefully navigate this situation, balancing its desperate need for support against the risk of further provoking its powerful adversary. The future of the European proposal remains highly uncertain. The public revelation of the draft plan and Russia's violent response have forced the debate into the open, making a consensus even more difficult to achieve. Nations that were privately considering the move are now facing intense domestic political pressure to avoid any actions that could lead to a wider war. The Kremlin's strategy of issuing dire threats and then demonstrating its willingness to carry them out appears designed to split the Western alliance and deter any further escalation. The death of the foreign fighters in Kramatorsk stands as a grim testament to the high stakes of this geopolitical calculation, effectively raising the cost of intervention for any European nation considering it. That's all for me for today. If you like the video presentations and you would like to follow for more, hit that subscribe and like button now, and we will continue to build this show for you. Thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. I will see you soon. Bye for now.